is well, all will be well. Okay, so uh, uh, just bit second. Okay, ठीक है. Okay, now let's move to, you can say, the topic nuclear and radiochemistry. This chapter has three sections. First section has classification of nuclides, the stability of the nuclides, and the factors affecting the stability of nuclide, as well as we have seen. That is what we can say. Concept of radioactivity in the second section. What is radioactivity? We have defined the radioactivity and related concept with this radioactivity. Also, we have seen decay. Uh, Also, we have seen rate of decay, and you can say rate law for decay, and you can say integrated rate law for the decay. Also, we have seen half-life period. Its graphical representation is there here in the second section of this chapter. And since last lecture, we have shifted to third part of the chapter. That is again a part of radioactivity. Then, what are the modes of decay? Whenever that substance may be a natural radioactive or maybe a artificial radioactive, but that emits some nuclear particles and you can say some energy. And this process is called as a radioactivity, the process in which nuclide emits some nuclear particles and radiations spontaneously and continuously. And that process is known as a radioactivity. And these modes of decay involves alpha, beta, and gamma radiations. So alpha, beta particles and gamma radiations. So whenever any nuclide emits alpha, what happens? What nuclear reaction occurs over there? If any nuclide emits beta radiations, what beta particle, what nuclear reaction occurs over there? We have seen that in detail. Also, we have seen whenever any nuclide emits alpha or beta, there may be a secondary effect, and gamma particles or gamma radiations are emitted, not a gamma particle, sorry. Gamma are electromagnetic radiations, and these radiations are emitted here in radioactivity. That is also what we have seen in last lecture. Then we have turned to next. This radioactivity is also, in other words, can be called as nuclear reactions, and we are discussing nuclear reactions. So yesterday हमने दो reactions discuss किए थे, transmutation process and artificial radioactivity, और हम लोग न्यूक्लियर फिशन भी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं ऑलमोस्ट. वापस उसको थोड़ा सा रिवाइज करता हूं और फिर उसके बाद हम लोग आगे चलेंगे. What is this transmutation process? Transmutation process is the process in which one nuclide gets converted into another nuclide. So that phenomena is called transmutation process. तो एक न्यूक्लाइड दूसरे न्यूक्लाइड में कन्वर्ट होता है, एंड उस प्रोसेस को हम लोग ट्रांसम्यूटेशन प्रोसेस ऐसा कहते हैं. Now ये जो nuclide transmutation process है, one stable nuclide or maybe unstable nuclide gets converted into stable or another unstable nuclide. Newly formed nuclide, it may be stable or it may be unstable. We are not related with that. But conversion of one nuclide into another nuclide by any of the means, any of the process, this phenomena called as your transmutation process. Then we have artificial radioactivity. This is the very artificial process in which one of the nuclide is bombarded with high energy radiations. So whenever one nuclide is bombarded with high energy radiations or particles, then that stable nuclide converts into unstable nuclide. This is the phenomena in which compulsory stable nuclide is converted into unstable nuclide. This phenomena is called as artificial radioactivity. मतलब a stable nuclide is converted into artificially radioactive nuclide. This phenomena is called as artificial radioactivity. कल हमने example देखा था कि whenever boron is bombarded, at that time it's converted into nitrogen, and nitrogen gets converted into carbon, which is radioactive elements. So that is the process called as artificial radioactivity. And next is nothing but the nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. These two reactions are a bit different than this one, and these are of very immense importance to us. Because जैसे मैंने बताया कि naturally on the surface of the sun, we got the sunlight from the sun and this solar system, and maybe this life exists due to solar system. The solar system has a big role to play in this one. Now in our solar system, sun is at the center, and how sun creates the energy, how it gives energy to us. Because on the surface of the sun, nuclear fission and fusion reactions are going on continuously. We clear now here? Sun, on the surface of the sun, both reactions, nuclear fissions and nuclear fusions, are going on continuously, and that's why this particular reactions has certain limit, so it has a certain time. So whatever the age of the sun is being calculated by the scientists, and it has a limited age. You need not to worry about this one because still more generation has to go. So that's why you don't need to worry about that part. But it's clear that the age of the sun is also limited because after some time, all fission reactions will get over because that whatever the fissionable material, that will get over soon because it continuously emits the energy. जिस तरीके से हमारी गाड़ी के अंदर हम पेट्रोल पुट करते हैं और गाड़ी चलाने के बाद हमारा पेट्रोल खत्म हो जाता है, उसी तरीके से सन के सरफेस के ऊपर जितना भी मटेरियल है जो फिशनेबल और फिजनेबल है, वो कुछ समय के बाद शायद वो खत्म हो जाएगा, धीरे धीरे खत्म हो जाएगा, and then this solar sun won't be existing, and then it would be a problem for us. Matlab, this is a long time calculated. It's need not to worry about many of the generations, but it's going to. These are the fission and fusion reactions which are going on the surface of the Earth, surface of the sun. We have to study. These are nothing but the nuclear reactions. So, what is nuclear fission? We have seen this one. Nuclear fission. This is the process in which heavy nuclide broke down into two or more comparable particles, and some energy is released here in this process. This phenomenon is called nuclear fission. As the name suggests, fission is a breaking of heavy particle or heavy nuclide into two comparable particles. So here example for the sake of example, you can have this uranium-235, which is a naturally radioactive element. It broke down into barium and krypton, and 2 to 3 neutrons are emitted here in this process, as well as large amount of energy is released. So it's already stated that when one uranium atom is broke down or fission, 200 million electron volt energy is released. Already we have seen binding energy concept and this million electron volt energy. अब ये 200 मिलियन इलेक्ट्रॉन वोल्ट हम बोलेंगे तो अंदाजा नहीं आता है, उसको मैं कन्वर्ट करके आपको बता दूंगा कि this is one atom of uranium is broken, that is fission, and we got 200 million electron volt. अगर हम ऐसा मानते हैं कि 1 ग्राम ऑफ यूरेनियम मटेरियल हमारे पास है, यूरेनियम इज अ न्यूक्लियर फ्यूल, 1 ग्राम ऑफ यूरेनियम, 1 ग्राम कितना होता है छोटा हम जानते हैं, बिकॉज हम सोना खरीदने जाते तो 10 तोला मतलब 1 तोला मतलब 10 ग्राम खरीदते हैं, 10 ग्राम, ये हम सिर्फ 1 ग्राम की बात कर रहे हैं. 1 ग्राम ऑफ यूरेनियम gives the energy after fission 24,000 kilovolt per hour, watt per hour, kilowatt per hour. अभी ये एनर्जी कितना है, अभी ये भी अंदाजा नहीं होता हम लोग 24,000 किलोवाट कितना होता है. तो दिस एनर्जी इज इक्वल टू 3 टन्स ऑफ कोल, 3 टन्स ऑफ कोल. अब देखिए हमारे महाराष्ट्र में और इंडिया में कई सारा एनर्जी हम लोग कोल से बनाते हैं. महाराष्ट्र के परली डिस्ट्रिक्ट, परली बीड डिस्ट्रिक्ट में परली नाम का एक तालुका है, उस तालुका प्लेस में हमारा पावर प्लांट है, जो थर्मल पावर प्लांट कहा जाता है उसे, जिस यहाँ पे कोयले से इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बनती है. नागपुर में भी एक है जो कोयले से इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बनती है. तो उस कोयले से इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बनाना है हम लोगों को, कोल से इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बनाना है, तो उसके लिए देखिए आप लोग कि 3 टन ऑफ कोल, 3 टन, 1 टन कितना होता है आप जानते हो, 3 टन ऑफ कोल जितना एनर्जी रिलीज करेगा उतना उसके लिए 1 ग्राम. अभी 3 टन कोल के लिए कई ट्रक्स लगेंगे, कई सारे ट्रक्स लगेंगे, इतना मटेरियल है. और 1 ग्राम यूरेनियम ऐसा है, इतना ऐसा इतना होगा हमारे हाथ में होगा. तो 1 ग्राम यूरेनियम 3 टन कोल इतना एनर्जी रिलीज कर रहा है, इतना ये एनर्जी है. और उसके लिए कई बैरल ऑफ नेचुरल ऑयल लगता है या फिर नेचुरल गैस लगता है. 5000 मीटर क्यूब ऑफ नेचुरल गैस, हमारे घर के अंदर जो गैस आता है उस टाइप का गैस अगर यूज करते हैं इतना एनर्जी रिलीज करने के लिए, तो 5000 मीटर क्यूब इतना गैस लगता है. सो इट्स अ ह्यूज मतलब. सो दैट्स व्हाई दिस इज द power of nuclear fuels. That's why we have to look up towards this nuclear power as a alternative source for the incoming eras, because whole world is facing the scarcity of the energy, and that's why it can be a solution. It can be one of the solution when we think about the alternative sources of energy. Hence this field needs more research and more discoveries, inventions here in this field, and that is possible. Even India has very nice nuclear program. That program is made by Dr. Homi Bhabha at the time of independence, and as of now we have very nice or great program of this one. But as of now our government is not spending that much money for this research, but it can be a very important. अब इसके एक जाते जाते मैं बता देता हूँ आपको कि अगर हम many companies all over the world are trying to make an engine which will work on this nuclear fuel, that is uranium, thorium, उसके ऊपर काम करेगा. सो ऐसा बना रहे. अगर ऐसा इंजन असल में आ जाता है, रियलिटी में ऐसा इंजन बनता है, जैसे कि आज की तारीख में हमारे इंजन पेट्रोल पे काम करते हैं, डीजल पे काम करते हैं, कुछ सीएनजी पे चलते हैं इंजन, है ना, कुछ गाड़ियां 4 व्हीलर सीएनजी पे चलती है. तो ऐसा अगर इंजन बनाया जाता है और जो न्यूक्लियर फ्यूल पे ऐसा इंजन चलेगा, तो पुणे से बॉम्बे अगर हम ट्रेन से चलते हैं तो उस ट्रेन का खर्चा सिर्फ पर पर्सन 10 पैसा होगा. सिर्फ 10 पैसा, 10 पैसा, 10 पैसा. आप जानते हो 1 रुपए में 10 पैसा होता है. 1 रुपए में कितना होता है? 100 पैसे होते हैं। सो 1 रुपए का 1/10 पार्ट, इतने में हमारा बॉम्बे टू पुणे ट्रैवलिंग हो जाएगा, इतना सस्ता बनेगा अगर हम ये टेक्नोलॉजी कॉन्कर करते हैं तो। दैट्स व्हाई वी नीड अ रिसर्च ऑन दिस फील्ड, बट दिस इज अ वेरी potential field, you can say, that is, you can say, nuclear fission. So once again come to the topic. Nuclear fission is the process in which heavy nuclide is broken down into two or more comparable masses of particles, and large amount of energy is released, and this is the energy which is released in nuclear fission. Now, how many is this the only fission possible for the uranium? अभी यूरेनियम का अगर बात करते हैं हम लोग, तो फिशन सिर्फ यूरेनियम का नहीं होता, देयर आर मेनी न्यूक्लाइड व्हिच कैन फिशन। बट अगर यूरेनियम की बात करते हैं तो यूरेनियम का फिशन सिर्फ इतना ही होता है। इज इट बीन ओनली द वे हाउ इट फिशन, मतलब इट गिव्स ओनली बेरियम ऑफ प्रोटॉन when it is carefully studied, there are more than 400 ways in which this nuclear breaks, this nuclear fission, मतलब दिस न्यूक्लाइड 400 अलग-अलग तरीके से ब्रेक डाउन होता है और 800 मोर देन डिफरेंट पार्टिकल्स मिलते हैं। सो जरूरी नहीं कि हर टाइम हम लोगों को बेरियम क्रिप्टॉन ही मिले, जरूरी नहीं। फिशन कैसा हो रहा है, वहां के टेम्परेचर कंडीशंस क्या है, वहां पे बम्बार्डमेंट कितना है, स्पीड कितना है, देयर आर मेनी फैक्टर्स व्हिच आर रिस्पांसिबल फॉर दैट। सो वी गॉट मोर देन 400 डिफरेंट वेज बाय व्हिच दिस इज फिशन। उस तरीके से फिशन होता है, और मोर देन 800 टाइप्स ऑफ प्रोडक्ट। यहाँ पे मैंने 3 ही लिखे, 1, 2 और 3 प्रोडक्ट लिखे, ऐसे कितने मिल सकते हैं? मोर देन 800 टाइप्स ऑफ प्रोडक्ट कैन बी ऑब्टेन्ड। This is the power of, you can say, nuclear chemistry, that is fission over here. So this is the fission, one of the important reaction which can be used destructively as well as, you can say, constructively. So that is one of the important reaction called as fission. Next, we are talking about this nuclear fusion. See, fusion is this, how particles come together. This is called as fusion. How these particles come together, that is called as fusion process. Now, as here in this process we have seen heavy nuclide break into two comparable masses. So what happens here? This is the process in which fusion में lighter nuclide unite together to form a larger particle. Two or more lighter particle unite to form heavy particle. यहाँ पे heavy particle broke, और here lighter particle unites, and that fission is that process called as fusion process. Say for example, आप देखिए कि suppose this is hydrogen 1 1 plus another hydrogen 1 1. So when these two hydrogen atoms come together, they fuse, and that reaction is called as a fusion reaction. Here we get hydrogen 1 and 2 plus 1 positron is emitted. This is plus 1 0, and this is nothing but the positron, that is beta plus particle. देखिए पार्टिकल की बात करें हम लोग, there is alpha particle, there is beta particle, there is gamma electromagnetic radiations, but there is one particle called as positron. So this is nothing but the electron. Alpha particle is helium 2 4. Beta particle is nothing but electron, -1 0, and this is nothing but the electron, but +1 0. ये डिफरेंस है इसके अंदर। तो जो अलग-अलग पार्टिकल लिमिट होते हैं उसमें से कुछ पार्टिकल्स है, दिस इज अल्फा पार्टिकल, बीटा पार्टिकल एंड पॉजिट्रॉन पार्टिकल्स। पॉजिट्रॉन मतलब दिस इज अपोजिट टू इलेक्ट्रॉन, मास एंड एवरीथिंग इज लाइक इलेक्ट्रॉन, बट चार्ज इसका पॉजिटिव होता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज पॉजिट्रॉन। तो देखिए ना, यहाँ पे ये 1 एटॉमिक नंबर, यहाँ पे 1 है, तो ये 1 1 2 होता है, दैट्स दिस इज द न्यूक्लियर रिएक्शन व्हिच इज बैलेंस्ड। ओके, and this particle is called as positron, which is opposite to electron. Mass and everything is equal to electron, but this is positively charged particle called as positron. Now the thing is that what we were discussing, fusion reaction. This is the reaction in which two lighter nuclide unite together. Two lighter nuclide unite together to form heavy particle. इतना heavy तो नहीं है, but comparatively heavy particle. ये जो दोनों unite हो रहे हैं, उससे थोड़ा सा heavy particle हम लोग उसके अंदर मिल जाता है. This process is called as fusion process. Are you getting it? So that is what we can see here. This is the fusion process. Okay. Now दूसरा एक एग्जांपल उसके अंदर लेते हैं कि this is hydrogen 1 1 plus hydrogen का ये 2. हाइड्रोजन के 3 आइसोटोप्स हैं, आप अच्छी तरह जानते हो, हाइड्रोजन, ड्यूटेरियम एंड ट्रिटियम. There are 3 isotopes of hydrogen having same atomic number, different mass number. When this hydrogen react with each other, so this is what we can say. Here helium will be formed. You can say helium will be formed 1 1 2, and here will be 3. This you can say helium nucleus will be formed. Helium having mass number 3 will be formed. So this is also one of the reaction called as a fusion reaction. And in this reaction, again, large energy is released. Here also large energy is released. So both reactions, fission and fusion, both reactions are there in which large amount of energy is released. यहाँ पर भी energy release होता है और यहाँ पर भी energy release होता है. Both reactions, either it is fission, either it is fusion, both are accompanied with release of large amount of energy. But the process is totally opposite. Fission is the process in which heavy nucleus break into two comparable masses, And fusion is the process in which lighter particle unite to form comparatively heavy particle. Lighter particle unite to form heavy particle. This process is called nuclear fusion. So जैसे मैंने बताया कि on the surface of the sun, both fission and fusion reactions are going on. Always continuously they are going on. That's why we have the large amount of energy which comes to the earth. And that's what we receive. Clear with this? So these are, you can say, mainly 4 types of nuclear reactions. Clear with this? So once again, first is transmutation, artificial radioactivity, nuclear fission, and nuclear fusion. What is transmutation? This is a process in which one nuclide gets converted to another nuclide. It may be stable, it may be unstable. One to another, conversion of one nuclide to another nuclide is called transmutation. This is conversion of one stable nuclide compulsory into unstable nuclide. So conversion of stable nuclide into unstable one is called artificial radioactivity, and that is always conducted often by artificial means. Lighter or stable nuclide is bombarded with heavy particle, and then that's converted into unstable radionuclide. That is, you can say, artificial radioactivity. This is, you can say, nuclear fission. This is what is nuclear fission. Fission in which heavy nuclide broke down into 2 or more compatible masses and accompanied by energy. Here, lighter particles unite together to form comparatively heavy nuclide, and that is nuclear fusion. In both of them, large amount of energy is released. Now, both reactions can be used destructively or can be used as a constructively. That is the big problem. It has been stated by some of the scientists or many of the philosophers that if Third World War happens, what will happen over there? The big Third World War takes place or it initiates. What will happen with this world? Many of the countries has nuclear power plants. They have nuclear bomb. They have atom bombs, or that has the guts to destroy many of the cities or many of the countries even. So that can be a destructive use because you may have one history that is Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which has given full stop to Second World War. America has bombarded Japanese cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and that was a full stop for the Second World War. है ना, हम अच्छी तरह जानते हैं. So अगर तीसरा वर्ल्ड वॉर होता है तो न्यूक्लियर पावर प्लांट कई सारे कंट्रीज यूज कर सकते हैं, सॉरी न्यूक्लियर एटम बम कई सारे कंट्री यूज कर सकते हैं. तो दैट कैन बी अ डिस्ट्रक्टिव यूज which is not in favor of the humanity, not in favor of the progress. But this is the power which can be used constructively. Many of the countries as of now using nuclear power plants to generate electricity. America, Austria, like countries are there which produces their large amount of energy, electricity by using these nuclear power plants. That is called their constructive use. So we have to discuss there is applications of this nuclear reactions, or you can say radioisotopes. So we have to discuss this next part, and this is the last part of this chapter called applications of radioisotopes. So move ahead. Applications of radioisotopes. Okay, so this is the last topic, last main head of this chapter called applications of radioisotopes. There are many applications of these radioisotopes. That is, you can say, so amongst that, we'll list one. Number one, that is, you can say, carbon dating. Carbon dating, number one. Number two, nuclear power plants. Number three, that is in medicines. Number four is nothing but agriculture. And number five, other. So these are main applications of radioisotopes. Big learner here. So what are the applications of radioisotopes? What are the applications of nuclear reactions? What we can make, either it is radioactivity or nuclear reactions. So there are these other 4 to 5 major applications of these radioisotopes. Number one is the carbon dating, which is of very immense importance. Next is nothing but the nuclear power plants, which is a very constructive use of this nuclear power. And these are in medicines, or you may be aware of this one, medicinal use. And then this is, you can say, use in agriculture. And this is other industries. There are many industries where we are using these radioisotopes. It has the applications. So one by one देखते हैं हम लोग. सबसे पहले चलते हैं हम लोग कार्बन डेटिंग की तरफ. कार्बन डेटिंग है क्या? What is this carbon dating now? जैसे मैंने बताया कि in science, we have studied that the age of Earth is 4.5 crore years. अर्थ का एज 4.5 करोड़ ईयर्स माना जाता है। 4.5 करोड़ ईयर्स की बात करें, यहाँ पे इंसान की लाइफ की बात करते हैं तो ऑन एन एवरेज 60, 70, 80, 100 उससे ज्यादा तो है नहीं, है ना। तो ऑन एन एवरेज तो 80 ही माना जाता है आज की तारीख में। कौन बंदा है जो 4.5 करोड़ पहले हमारे अर्थ का जन्म हुआ था, ये बताता है, कैसे बता पाते हैं हम लोग? दिस इज बिकॉज ऑफ द साइंस एंड दिस इज बिकॉज ऑफ द कार्बन डेटिंग। कार्बन डेटिंग के कारण ये पॉसिबल है, क्योंकि ये वैसे मैंने बताया आपको कि हिमालयन माउंटेन इज द यंगेस्ट माउंटेन in this world, whereas Alpes mountain in the America is supposed to be the oldest mountain on this earth. Now there are rocks, there are deposits of different types of minerals, ores and rocks, and there are many substances, elements and all. When scientists studied carbon 14, which is a radioactive element. Carbon 14 is a radioactive element, radioisotopes of the carbon. Carbon has 3 isotopes, carbon 12, carbon 13, carbon 14. So there is one of the elements called as a carbon 14. So carbon 14, whose half-life period, that is T1 half, is 5,700 and 5,370 years. Like this. This is the half-life period. Carbon 14. There is carbon 12. There is carbon 13. These are also there, but these are not that much radioactive. Carbon 12 is completely non-radioactive. Carbon 13 is radioactive, but it's found in very, very traces. Whereas carbon 14 is a properly radioactive element, a natural radioactive element, what we get here into the nature. So scientists studied the rate of decay of carbon 14, which is present. They calculated, and based on that, they logically concluded that the age of Earth is 4.5 crore years. या फिर आप लोग फॉरेंसिक साइंस भी जानते हो। फॉरेंसिक साइंस में हम जानते हैं, कई सारी फिल्में हमने देखी है, कई सारी डिटेक्टिव टाइप की सीरियल्स हम लोग देखते हैं टीवी पे, और वहां पे ढूंढा जाता है कि किसी एक बड़े इंसान का खून हुआ था, तो वो कितने साल पहले हुआ था, किस हथियार से किया गया था। दैट इज द वे हाउ दिस फॉरेंसिक साइंस डील्स विद दैट। या फिर हम ये भी जानते हैं कि फॉसिल्स मिलते हैं, हम जुरासिक पीरियड, ट्रायसिक पीरियड्स, ये आपने देखा हुआ है। सो अलग अलग एनिमल्स के फॉसिल्स मिलते हैं। इवन डार्विन ने भी एक ह्यूमन इज बीन इवॉल्व्ड राइट फ्रॉम द monkeys, इस तरीके से वो सब इवोल्यूशन का लिंक दिया हुआ है, दैट इज बीन साइंटिफिकली प्रूवन बाय डार्विन। नाउ थिंग इज दैट ये जो फॉसिल्स देखे गए सारे फॉसिल्स देखने के बाद, ये जो सारे अभी उस जमाने के अगर हम लोग देखते हैं कि डायनासोर जैसे बड़े बड़े एनिमल्स कब एक्सटिंक्ट हुए, कई हजारों साल पहले, उनके फॉसिल्स आज भी मिलते हैं, और उनके फॉसिल स्टडी करके साइंटिस्ट बताते हैं कि इस फॉसिल का एज कितना है, हाउ इट इज। This is again goes to this carbon dating. Carbon dating is a Nobel Prize winning discovery because it has given a natural clocks. और इसलिए हम लोग नेचर के कई सारे अजूबे हम लोग उसके कारण पता चले, that is because of carbon 14. How this techniques works, how this carbon dating technique works, that is what we are discussing here. Carbon dating means by using carbon 14, we can calculate the age of the fossils, age of the mountains, rocks, and everything. That's called the carbon dating. But this is a technique which is useful to calculate the time period. And that is what we can say carbon dating. So carbon dating hota kya hai? See, carbon dating is the element that is nitrogen 14, which is bombarded with a neutron. So there is, you can say, nitrogen 14, 7, which is bombarded with neutrons, right, coming from the cosmic ray. Nitrogen is present in the atmosphere. This nitrogen is bombarded with neutrons coming from the cosmic rays. When cosmic rays enter into the atmosphere, that has the neutron. That neutron is bombarded with this one, and we get here carbon 6, and here is the 14. Whereas here will be H11. So that is what we get here. So this is the particle emitted here in this process, that is proton. This particle is nothing but the proton which is emitted in this process, and this is nothing but the carbon 14. And this carbon 14 is nothing but the radioisotope of carbon. And this carbon has the half-life period 5,370 years. इतना उसका half-life period. अभी होता क्या है? By using this equation half-life period, T1 half is equal to 0.693 upon lambda, or you can say T is equal to 2.303 upon lambda log base 10 n0 upon nt. These are the two equations जो हम लोग यूज कर सकते हैं। अगर हमें कार्बन का डीके रेट पता है, तो उससे हम लोग उसका हाफ लाइफ पीरियड निकाल सकते हैं। अगर हाफ लाइफ पीरियड निकाल सकते हैं हम लोग, तो और हाफ लाइफ पीरियड पता है तो उससे डीके निकाल सकते हैं, और डीके पता है तो डीके यहाँ पे पुट करके टाइम निकाल सकते हैं। तो कार्बन का इनिशियल अमाउंट कितना है ये देखा जाता है। अभी देखिए सबसे पहले इंपॉर्टेंट होता क्या है कि दिस इज द नाइट्रोजन 14 व्हिच इज प्रेजेंट इन द एटमॉस्फेयर, एटमॉस्फेयर में प्रेजेंट होता है. हम जानते हैं 78% नाइट्रोजन इज प्रेजेंट इनटू द एटमॉस्फेयर. व्हेन कॉस्मिक रेज एंटर इनटू द एटमॉस्फेयर, that has the neutron. That neutron is bombarded over this nitrogen 14, and this nitrogen 14 converts into carbon 14, which is a radio isotope radio element. This carbon 14 is produced into the atmosphere, that created into the atmosphere. This carbon 14 reacts with oxygen to form CO2. I mean, this is carbon dioxide, but it has a carbon 14 stain. Then carbon dioxide नाम का एलिमेंट है जिसके अंदर ये जो कार्बन है इसका मास नंबर 12 है. नॉर्मली कार्बन 12 होता है, मतलब ये जो कार्बन होता है उसका मास नंबर 12 होता है. दिस वाला ये नेचर में 98% ऑलमोस्ट मिलता है, बहुत ज्यादा मिलता है नेचर में. दैट्स व्हाई ये कार्बन CO2 में कार्बन 12 होता है. लेकिन एटमॉस्फेयर में नाइट्रोजन के ऊपर न्यूट्रॉन बम्बार्ड होने के बाद जो कार्बन 14 तैयार होता है वो एटमॉस्फेयर में, दैट इज CO2. वो रेन के साथ comes down on the earth with the rain, because this carbon dioxide mixed with water that dissolves into the water and comes down on the earth. Plant absorbs carbon dioxide for the photosynthesis. हम अच्छी तरह जानते हैं. Plant has the capacity to absorb the carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide, this carbon 14 enters into the body of plants. See how this carbon 14 is formed into the atmosphere. With the rain, water is come down on the earth. This is absorbed by the water plants, and this carbon 14 enters into the body of the plants, and these plants are eaten by the animals, even we too, in different ways. But the plants, in the sense, not only the bigger plants, but you can have different types of vegetables what we eat, and different types of fruit what we eat, that has the particular amount of this carbon 14. So when we eat this carbon 14, हमारे बॉडी के अंदर कार्बन 12 टू कार्बन 14 का एक रेशो होता है. कार्बन 12 तो कार्बन 14 का एक पर्टिकुलर रेशो होता है. Till any of the animal is alive, वो जिंदा है तब तक वो खाता रहेगा, और जब तक डाइट लेता रहेगा एनिमल तब तक कार्बन 14 और कार्बन 12 का प्रोपोर्शन उसके बॉडी में मेंटेन रहेगा. The moment any animal dies, it stops the eating, और जैसे वो ईटिंग स्टॉप करेगा कार्बन 14 बॉडी में इंटर नहीं करेगा. सो ये जो रेशो है ये कम हो जाता है, डिक्रीज हो जाता है. How much this ratio is decreased? By calculating that, we can calculate the time. How much time is there? Since how much time that animal didn't eat over that means it's died because of that reason. So this is the way how we can calculate the age of the fossil fuels, age of the rocks, and age of the fossils by using this technique. That is called the carbon dating. Clear with this? So carbon dating is one of the important technique in which the time is calculated for the rocks, for the mountains, for the fossils, for any of the animal. That fossil may be a plant fossil or maybe animal fossil. That is what we can say. So how it is? So carbon has three isotopes: carbon 12, carbon 13, and carbon 14. Out of this, carbon 12 is a non-radioactive, and carbon 13 and carbon 14 is radioactive. In atmosphere, nitrogen is present, nitrogen 14 is present. When cosmic rays enter into the atmosphere, that has the neutron. This neutron is bombarded with this nitrogen 14. That's converted to carbon 14. This carbon 14 reacts with oxygen into the atmosphere, forms carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide dissolves with the water, comes down with the rain, and this has been absorbed by the plants. That enters into the body of the plant. These plants, in different many ways, are eaten by the animals or humans, and that enters into the body of animals or humans. And till the animal or human is alive, it has a particular ratio of carbon 12 to carbon 14. That is fixed, perfect. The moment that animal or organism dies, at that time this get disturbed and that comes down. How much this ratio is decreased by calculating this amount? We can calculate the age of that fossil, age of that organism, age of that plant. That is what we can say. And this is a very important technique for this one. That is called carbon dating. Clear with this? Hope everyone got this. This is called the carbon dating technique, which is very important for all of us. Let's move to the next. That is nothing but the nuclear power plants. This is one of the important application of radioisotope, that is called the nuclear power plants. Okay. Now we have to go ahead for the nuclear power plant. So then, how this nuclear power can be used constructively, or you can say destructively? That is what the thing. जैसे मैंने बताया कि either it is nuclear fission reaction, either it is nuclear fusion reaction. It is a very powerful, large, huge amount of energy is released here in nuclear fission and fusion, and this is used into the nuclear power plant. So nuclear power plant has some this like structure. We can say this is the structure of nuclear power plants, where the idea, these are the pipes of the coolant which enters into this one, like this one here. These are the rods. Now see, What happens here in these nuclear power plants? This is a typical schematic diagram of nuclear power plant. In this power plant, controlled explosions of this nuclear fuel is done. Control burning of this nuclear fuel is done. Yeah, control fission, in perfect word, a controlled fission of nuclear fuel is done here in this nuclear power plant. It has to be very carefully erected, carefully prepared. That can be then that whatever the energy released from the fission can be used. Already we have seen that uranium 235 is the element which broke down into barium and krypton, and some energy is released here. This one, उसके अंदर release होता है. Now यूरेनियम को अगर ब्रेक डाउन करना है तो यूरेनियम हैज टू बी बम्बार्डेड विद न्यूट्रॉन. यूरेनियम के ऊपर न्यूट्रॉन का बम्बार्डमेंट किया जाता है, जो हमने ऑलरेडी डिस्कस किया था कि सपोज दिस इज यूरेनियम 235 92 is bombarded with neutron 1. It release barium 142 36 and krypton 56 91. Sorry, ये 56 36 91 plus 2 to 3 neutrons, 2 to 3 neutrons, 0, 1, and plus energy. This is a reaction. Yes. Plus 2 to 3 neutrons, 0, 1, plus energy. This is the reaction. This is the fission reaction. So wherever uranium 235, like a nuclear fuel, is bombarded with neutrons, high-speed neutrons. At that time, this broke into barium, krypton, or many others. There are 400 different types of products, 300, 800, 400 different ways. 2 to 3 new neutrons are emitted, and this energy is released. And this is nothing but a chain reaction. Chain reaction. How this chain reaction? Suppose if, this is the first neutron which is bombarded on this uranium. This is uranium 235. This neutron is bombarded. This neutron is bombarded. So this neutron is bombarded on this uranium. When this is bombarded, it produces barium, krypton, and 2 to 3 neutrons are emitted. Suppose this is again first neutron, this is second neutron, and this becomes the third neutron. This uranium has emitted these 3 neutrons. Again, this neutron bombards on this uranium. These are the 3 uraniums. Again, uranium. Again, this emits 3 neutrons, like this, 2 to 3 neutrons. This again emits 3 to 2 neutrons. This again emits 2 to 3 neutrons. And they again bombard on this one. These are the uraniums. So this reaction is called as the chain reaction. Chain reaction, because it goes on, and goes on. This goes on, and goes on. So picture again, only 1 neutron is bombarded on the uranium. It breaks into barium, krypton, and 3 neutrons are emitted. These 3 neutrons again bombards on next 3. This 3 releases almost 9 strikes on the more 9 uranium. Then again that releases 9 3s are 27. That's right. This number goes on, and this is the chain reaction which is initiated. So chain reaction initiated here, and this chain reaction is only the basic principle of atom bomb, or you can say nuclear power plant. Nuclear power plant, this chain reaction is used constructively and in a controlled manner. Or when it is an atomic bomb, this reaction is in uncontrolled manner. So this reaction occurs within a fraction of a second, and that's why a large amount of energy. Every breakdown, 200 million electron volt energy is released. So एक molecule होगा तो 200, 3 होंगे तो 200 into 3, 9 होंगे तो 200 into 9, like that's वो बढ़ता जाएगा. That large amount of energy is released in very, very short period in case of atom bomb. And here it is released in controlled manner. Whatever the neutrons emitted, these neutrons are absorbed. Or 2 to 3 neutrons are emitted. There is a arrangement where we can have graphite rods. Then we can have heavy water, D2O. We can have coolant liquid. There are many arrangement what we can do here in this one. So we have these graphite rods. If graphite rods are inserted into this nuclear reactor, at that time these absorb these neutrons, extra neutrons. So some neutrons are absorbed over here, and that's why this reaction goes in a controlled manner. जिस तरीके से हम गाड़ी को एक्सीलरेट करते हैं, उसी तरीके से रिएक्शन को एक्सीलरेट किया जा सकता है, कंट्रोल किया जा सकता है. जैसे हम लोग उसके अंदर कुछ रॉड डालेंगे जो कि न्यूट्रॉन को कंट्रोल करेगा. अगर न्यूट्रॉन एब्जॉर्ब होते हैं, न्यूट्रॉन कंट्रोल होते हैं, तो रिएक्शन विल कम इनटू द कंट्रोल. सो दिस इज द वे, एंड दिस एनर्जी इज रिलीज्ड हियर. यहाँ पे एक्सप्लोजन होते रहेंगे, एनर्जी रिलीज होती जाएगी. इसके अंदर कूलेंट या हेवी वाटर पुट करके दैट विल बी कन्वर्टेड टू वाटर वेपर्स. दैट वाटर वेपर विल रोटेट द टर्बाइन्स, एंड टर्बाइन्स क्रिएट द इलेक्ट्रिक एनर्जी. This is how nuclear power plant works over here. Be clear here? For nuclear power plant, we have a right technology, we have a right setup of this nuclear power plant. We have the schematic diagram. You can go to the book or you can go to the YouTube. We have this schematic diagram of the nuclear power plant where the fuel is nothing but the uranium 235. Uranium 230. India has the greatest deposit of thorium. India don't have deposits of uranium that much amount. It's a very small amount of expression. But we can have import this one, uranium 235. It is put into this here and this bombarded with neutrons. Some graphite rods or heavy water is put into this, which will absorb the extra neutrons, and this reaction is carried out in controlled manner. Large amount of air is released, which will convert into water into the vapors or coolant into the vapors that will rotate the turbines, and electricity is generated. In Noida, UP, as well as in Trombay, here in Bombay, in Chennai, we have a nuclear power plant. Almost 2.5% of electricity is generated from this nuclear power plant in India. In the rest of the countries, almost, I think so, near about 12% of electricity in America is prepared using this nuclear power plants. So that is how we can calculate. But for that, we need a nuclear fuel. That is not even the uranium-235. India has a deposit of thorium. We need more research. Thorium can be converted to uranium and then can be used as a nuclear fuel. And that's why we need a research. There may be some scholars amongst you, or maybe your batch who will enter into this one. But it's very potential field for the coming, as you can see, nuclear power plant. Furthermore, is nothing but you can say medicines. Now see, मेडिसिन की अगर बात करते हैं हम लोग, तो आप अच्छी तरह जानते हो मेडिसिन के अंदर कहाँ का यूज किया जाता है, न्यूक्लियर रेडियो आइसोटोप्स. आज की तारीख में cancer is a very dangerous disease and a very almost common disease. It's going, it's becoming. I think so. There may be every sixth or every ninth person is suffering from the cancer or in coming right, because there is a very drastic change in lifestyle, drastic change in diet and everything, and there are many poisonous substances or some substances entering into our body which causes the cancer. So cancer is a very common disease as of now. It's becoming, and for this treatment of the cancer, we have these medicines. There is a chemotherapy named this. So using this chemotherapy here, some radioactive isotopes, artificially radioactive isotopes, are put into the body of human being, and that radioisotope emits the radiations, and that kills the cancerous cells. That kills the cancerous cell. That is potassium 32, iodine 131. These are the elements which can be injected in our body, or that can enter into that can be put into our body for the chemotherapy. And that is what we can say. These are the medicines. There are many. Cobalt-60 is used also for the treatment of the cancer and some of the thyroid-like diseases and all. There are many diseases where this radioactive isotopes can be used. This is of two types. Medicine we can use for the diagnostic purpose, as well as we can use it for therapeutic purpose. You can say diagnose means to identify which disease is present, and to treat the disease, actually for the treatment of the disease. So therapeutic and diagnostic, there are both treatment ways for which this medicine is used. There are many radioisotopes, iodine 130, potassium 32, cobalt 60, or many radioisotopes. Even oxygen is also used for finding out some obstacles in the blood flow. That is in medicine industry. So that is one of the important use. Next is nothing but the agriculture. Agriculture industry, mein, in order to avoid the sprouting of the, you can say, onion and different types of food grains and all what we use here. That is that are exported from India to America, US, Australia, like that, and it need a lot of time because they go with the waterway and all. So for that one, there has to be properly irradiated to the radioactive elements, because of this sprouting can be avoided. As well as there are many agriculture treatments where we can have study the photosynthesis like reactions. We can study the physiological reactions going on into the body of the plants, how the chemical reactions are going on, how the fertilizers are acting in the body. For this study, also you can say have this use of this radioisotopes in agriculture. So in agriculture industry, to avoid the sprouting, to store food grains or foods for a long time, here treatment of this radioisotopes is used for agriculture, as well as to study many physiological reactions in the body of the plants. This radioisotopes are used. And there are many other use, that is in forensic science, forensic medicines, as well as you can say here for tracing out the reaction as the tracers. Means शायद आपने 12th के अंदर आप रिएक्शन मैकेनिज्म की बात करते हैं. रिएक्शन मैकेनिज्म मतलब कैसा होता है कि शायद आप मीथेन को जानते हो, मीथेन CH and H, उसके अंदर Cl का रिएक्शन हो जाता है और एक हाइड्रोजन निकल जाता है. यहाँ पे मिलता है CH और यहाँ पे Cl मिलता है. This is Cl. Now मीथेन के साथ 4 हाइड्रोजन है, 1 2 3 4. This is first, second, third and fourth. Now कौन सा हाइड्रोजन रिप्लेस किया गया? सारे हाइड्रोजन एक जैसा नहीं है. फर्स्ट, सेकंड, थर्ड, फोर्थ, कौन सा हाइड्रोजन रिप्लेस किया? दैट इज कोलेजन मैकेनिज्म पार्ट. हाइड्रोजन रिप्लेस किया, इतना सफिशिएंट नहीं. कौन सा हाइड्रोजन रिप्लेस किया, वही क्यों किया? That is a very part of the important part of the mechanism, and this is studied. So in order to find out this one, ये जो reactant है, this will be radio labeled. That is another use, as in tracers. So that is, you can say they are radio labeled. So रेडियो आइसोटोप्स लेवल किए जाते हैं, वो इसके अंदर छोड़े जाते हैं, वो स्टडी किया जाता है कि किस तरीके से और कहाँ पे जा रहा है, कौन सा ब्रेकडाउन ऑफ हाइड्रोजन वो क्यों ब्रेक हो रहा है. That is called the reaction mechanism. So there is a use in forensic medicine, there is a use in tracers in laboratory, there is use in industry. So there are many more uses of this radioisotopes what we can have as of now here in this industry. So that's all for the applications of this chapter, that is radiochemistry and nuclear chemistry. Clear with this? So this chapter is in theoretically over here. There are some numericals based on this one. We'll conduct it in tomorrow's lecture. Till then, thank you very much. If you need doubt, we'll discuss tomorrow. See you. Thank you very much.